Hello, this is Martin Shervington, and welcome to the Plus Your Business show. And today I'm joined by community manager and moderator Stan Bush, and by Travis in the studio. So let's say hello to those first, and I'm going to tell you what you've got in store for the show. Let's come across. Travis, how are you?
Martin, I'm great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. I've been in downtown San Diego having meetings, and then come back for the show here. So it's rather warm here.
I would have, yes. It's got to be at least 10 degrees cooler towards the ocean, though. I'm about 20 minutes east of you, which it's hot out here.
Yeah, I know.
Not to mention all the fires we've got going on.
I saw what was happening last night. It's yes, learning about California.
Yeah, there's probably 10 plus fires happening in the San Diego County, and all the schools are no school for the rest of the week for the kids.
Yeah. Hey, they'll all be down at the beach.
Yep.
So, great. Now, we're going to come across to Stan Bush. How are you, Stan?
I'm doing great. You know, Georgia's had a lot of rain, so our problem was a little bit different than fire. I was listening to the news this morning, and there is a school that has shut down, a school system that shut down over in Georgia because of too much rain washed out some of the mud roads. So,
now, the thing is, I'm going to come at, because we've just been joined by fellow Brit, Kath Dawson. I was going to have a chat with Kath in a little while, but as soon as we're talking about rainy weather, I feel it's appropriate to say, hello, Kath. We're going to start the show with you. Now, just a second. So, Kath and I have been, well, we worked together earlier this year on your Google Plus strategy, and I'd love to hear how you're getting on. But first of all, who are you? What do you do? Tell the world.
Hi. Sorry, I've literally just arrived here just seconds before you said hello, and my screen's just gone black, but I'm just going to assume that you can hear me.
It's good.
You can see me and hear me. Excellent. I've had some technical problems setting up from home because it's the first time I've done this, but I'm from home. But I'm Kath Dawson. I'm creative director of Strategy Internet Marketing, which is my company. And we do content marketing, technical SEO, pay-per-click, and social media. So thank you very much for having me on the show.
Great, excellent. So, and what are you doing on Google Plus? Let's let people know what you've been up to. Apart from posting videos about FreeQuest with mud, that's kind of like I did yesterday. But what are you up to on Google Plus?
Right, well, we have a brand page, we have several brand pages, and we have a profile page which I'm running as a company owner. I'm kind of the face of the company, really, I suppose, and really taking your advice right from the start. When I came back on Google Plus, which was kind of October time, you know, I joined up as so many millions of others did, I suppose, back when it first came out, and didn't really know what to do. There wasn't anybody around, so I disappeared again. And then came back in October, really when I was on holiday and I had a bit of extra time. And I just read and consumed as much as possible. And I was kind of immediately greeted by people like yourself, Stepan Holbenanian, if I said his name right, Chef Dennis, Mia Voss, all sorts of people who were very quick to kind of say, you know, hello, welcome, ask any questions you need, and point you in the right direction, which was, you know, it was a lovely welcome, really. But I did quickly learn that there was a lot of stuff that I needed to know, and I couldn't quite work out the strategy that I needed to know fast enough. And that's when I realized that actually it would help if I asked somebody who did know, which is what brought me to Martin, really. And then we worked together for a short period of time, and it was absolutely fantastic because you could fill in the gaps for me and point me in the right direction. So what we've been doing is really trying to make sure that we create content that people want to share and that would be interesting to our target audience, not get too discouraged by not a lot of response at the beginning, because it's about building up those relationships, finding the right people, sharing the right kind of content, and reaching out and engaging with them. And I think I was encouraged by your reassurance that actually this is going to take a little bit of time, and just don't give up. And actually, I have to say that in the last probably couple of weeks, I feel like it's really kind of taking off, and it has taken months. And you said it would take months. And yeah, but I really feel like it's turned a corner, and this week's been particularly exciting. For me, I've done all sorts of crazy things, but yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
That's super. So, what advice would you give to people in terms of their approach? I mean, it's great, it's wonderful, and they can get in touch with us at Plus Your Business. But in terms of just getting started, where would you say they need to put their attention? Let's ask you a direct question: profile or page? Let's start with that one because that one comes up all the time.
Yeah, start with profile, because people respond better to a face and a person and personality. I realised yesterday I'd been talking to somebody who'd been really fantastic as a brand, really helpful. I didn't know it was this other person who was a profile, and I suddenly kind of joined the dots together. I'm like, oh, it's you. And it was really nice because I felt like I knew them as a profile, and then I immediately liked them more as a brand.
Well, it's trust, isn't it? I mean, you've built up the trust in a more friendly, less specific context of that person as a brand, so there's a broader thing. So on that note then, what about, because I know people will, they'll look at some people's profiles and go, you're sharing some stuff you stick around for me, like Star Wars, or you're getting involved with meme days. From a business point of view, what are your thoughts on that? And that's not a loaded question. I mean, do you do those days? And do the general social from your profile?
Well, yeah. Have you seen my weird, freaky strawberries?
Yeah, I did. I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, you did say at the beginning as well. You said you need a little bit more personality, because I was kind of posting kind of business-related stuff, and so I have felt, since I've actually got to know some people and feel at a personal level that I know that they'll respond quite well to it, that I've put some more personal information up. I've got 2 crazy cats, and I'm growing strawberries, and I probably wouldn't put stuff up about family things because my family aren't on there. I don't quite see it as working like Facebook. Certainly not until they come along. But it's a business tool for me. But I am developing relationships with people in a very nice kind of kind of trusting and collaborative way. A little bit. It's weird because they're online, but you feel like you really get to know them. So giving a bit more personality on your profile helps that along a bit, I think.
Excellent. Okay, the next question then. What about when the time comes for people to build up their page? How are you finding that? What tips would you give to people?
Yeah, well, the page is what a lot of clients are interested in, and of course, a lot of clients actually don't want to have a personal profile on Google+. They want to outsource it and say, you get on with it and you build our brand up. And so actually sometimes you have to really start from scratch, building up a brand, and it is quite hard. It takes a lot of time. But I think adding that little bit of personality by saying who it is, who's actually writing on that page, is quite good.
Yeah.
But actually going out and engaging in communities, being helpful, being kind of consistent with the things that you share, so that when people do come along to your page, they can kind of just scan down your stream and feel, yeah, I know what these guys are about, and this is quite interesting. I'm interested enough to follow them.
Yeah.
So that's what's worked with us, is also having kind of series of things, so people know, this is one in a series of, I don't know, however many. I think we're on number 50 now of kind of created content marketing examples, and we put those up as examples and kind of explain why we think it's a good example, so people know if they come to our page, that's what they can expect to find, as long with other things as well, obviously. But it's just they understand what you're about.
And your brand. That's it. That's what you're doing. So you're doing what you're helping other people to do.
Yeah, and it's working, which is lovely to see.
Superb. Okay, last thing. Where can people find you, Kath?
Well, they can find me on here, Kath Dawson. I'm also sometimes on Twitter, also at Kath Dawson, but the best place is to find me on here, and my company is Strategy Internet Marketing. So do follow along. Oh, also, can I give a shout out to Peter Lunn, and the Great British Hangout, because that's something that Peter and I are collaborating on. It's not to do with our businesses. It's to do with our experience on Google Plus. So we kind of help each other out and support each other, encourage each other. He's my biggest cheerleader on here at the minute, so thanks, Peter. And it's just really to try and help other UK brands who are fairly new to Google Plus to kind of welcome them in a bit and say, yes, there are other brands here, and come and join in and have fun.
Superb. Well, thank you, Kath. That's great. Now, whilst you're here and whilst Peter's on the thread, hello, Peter. What I think I might ask you guys to get involved in the United Kingdom community. So we'll have a chat. That could be good. Yes.
Brilliant.
All right. Well, I'll circle back. So thanks for coming on the show. That was lovely.
Thank you.
Great tips for people as well. So, and yeah, Peter, he says it's a bit choppy for him. It's all the water in the UK. That's what it is.
Sun's shining. Sun's shining. It's really warm here today.
Okay, it won't last. Okay. Thanks, Kath. That's wonderful. I'm going to come back to Travis in the studio, and then I'm going to come on to Christina, and we're going to start talking about communities in a second with Christina Blank-Presnell. So, 1 second. And Travis?
Hello, Martin.
Let's come back to you. Let's talk about Hangouts for a moment. I mean, we're in an ever-evolving system that we're trying out with Cluster Business. I don't know if you can zoom out and show people the studio if they haven't seen this already, and what we're doing here.
We could, if you give us a moment, we got to throw.
There we go. I can just flip my
individual behind the camera.
Oh, that's Core. Everybody, that's the first time you've seen Core on camera. There you go.
So you're about to see the control station here.
This is what these guys are up to. Do you know what? I didn't even mean that. I just meant the studio. But this is great. So this is that these guys are using. And there's a lot going on. There's a lot of testing happening with what you can do with Hangouts, how far you can push it. Ever patient, very patient. Because sometimes with this tech, this is still new, and what we're trying to do is stream different things. And that's cool. Thanks for moving. So it's an experiment, really.
It really is, yeah. And it doesn't always go as planned, but we're doing. Again, we are pushing the envelope here quite a bit, and it doesn't always work the same every time.
But what we want to do is give a different visual experience for people watching. Hello, Hart, as well, and I can see Cheryl, and we're all staying safe, so don't worry. They're asking about the fire, so. Well, okay, now, thanks for that, Travis. I'm going to come across to Christina, and then I'm going to come on to Stan and talk about his views, because we're going to talk about communities. Christina, how are you?
I'm well. How's everyone?
Great. Always lovely to see you.
Thank you. I heard all that commotion about hot weather and fires. It's cold here. So.
I know people in the north just go, stop complaining about it. There we go. Now, people can see from the background, we've got a very visual, woolly background for Christina. Would you like to say what you do on Google+, both from a profile point of view, but also from the business page and the community that you run?
This is all insulation. I build a community of knitters using Google+. I run a profile page, Yarn Mountain. I work from my personal profile as well, establishing relationships, and then I use communities as the bridge to tie the two together. And communities are really the key to engagement for my brand on Google+. I started out building that community before there were communities, when Google Plus first launched, and just started looking for knitters and looking for other folks in my industry that were active on Google Plus and that we could connect through Hangouts. We started using Hangouts very early, and through that have built what is the Knitting Lodge community today, that is worldwide and very, very active.
That's great. So this is the Knitting Lodge.
The Knitting Lodge is the name of the community, right?
So let's talk about engagement, and then we'll start talking about business. And I want to talk about blogging, because you and I have talked about blogging as well. And let's talk about how things work. So engagement. I mean, what do you call engagement within that community and on your page and on your profile? What specifically?
Engagement is the community members getting involved either in activities, in workshops, in the dialogue going on the community page. They're interacting with me, they're interacting with the brand, and through that we're establishing a level of trust that then carries over into the customer base.
Okay, so digging down a little further, when we talk about plus ones, comments, shares, what do you value most? Is it conversation?
Conversation, absolutely.
Yeah. So,
Conversation that can add some value and then lead into events. That in the events is where the relationships really get established, not just with me, the brand, or the brand, but with each other. And when the relationships start to develop amongst the community members is when the engagement really kicks off. And then there's value for those community members outside of my brand, for them to engage in that community, because now they have friends there, now they have relationships of their own there. And it's fun to watch as the Google Plus connections become in real life connections that we're starting to see posted as meetups are happening, and that's beginning to happen there as well.
So do you have knit-ups?
We have what's called a knit night, a virtual knit night. So rather than the knitters gathering in a shop locally, they're at home, maybe in their PJs, maybe not, but they're joining in via Hangout. Now these aren't recorded Hangouts, so they're comfortable and they just kind of share their work, share their stories, get to know each other. That's where some really great connections have happened there.
That's really cool. I mean, so you're bringing people together. You're the context. I mean, the community becomes, and the Knit Lodge becomes the context that holds those people in a way and allows them to have the relationship. You don't have to be there all the time.
Absolutely not. And these the folks joining in on these Hangouts are around the world. We're holding them in different time zones. It might be early afternoon in New Zealand and evening here in the U.S. So we've got quite a diverse group. The common denominator is the work at hand, so everybody can speak the same language, so to speak. And we have had folks join in that don't speak English and are using the Translate tool.
So when you say work at hand, do you mean are they working on, like, how dumb am I about to sound? Like knitting patterns? Is that kind of, are they doing the same?
They're working on a project. There's some that create their own materials. They spin their own yarn. They'll knit, they'll crochet, do different types of crafts. But the technique is the same worldwide. So that's the connection.
Wow, cool. Okay, I want to talk about your website and your blog, just because I've harassed you gently, nicely harassed you before. So what's the relationship between the Google Plus and your website?
Oh, it's intertwined. The majority of the traffic on my website.
Knitted together is what it is. Knitted together.
Right. It is very knitted together. There's cross-linking continuously.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Okay, well, we can keep on. So, I'll stop with the bad jokes. How are they linked?
When I post on Google Plus, if you want a little bit technical, if I'm posting photos or posting about a product, featured product, those photos are linked back to the website. They're the same photos there, so there's continuity. Everything is built to drive traffic to that website. Yeah. So all of those links are important, and they go through the products, through the photos. Everywhere I can put a link, there's a link.
Yeah. So basically, it's not community for community's sake. You're running it because you're running a business.
Sure.
And those people acknowledge that, know that, and they're part of you've created a mini ecosystem for knitting, really.
The community is built around the business, but could stand on its own for sure. The business page could stand on its own. But the only way to get that 360-degree view that incorporates the relationships around the brand is by interacting between the two and adding my personal profile in there as well. Because while I might be engaging as a brand, I engage more in the community as myself. So when they're shopping on the website, they know who they're shopping with. And if they're searching for a product and they see either me or the brand in their search results, there's already a pre-established trust level there that's sort of built in before, that trust has already been established. That plays into their buying decision later.
See, that's really cool. So what you're talking about is the on-platform activity, the trust building here, surfacing or allowing for content, surfacing a search with your face next to it, which is the authorship if it's tied to your profile, and so people outside of your network essentially can find what you're talking about. Yeah.
Exactly, and whether I'm posting as myself or as the brand, I'm including a plus to the other one in that post. So if it's as my brand, I'll plus myself, and vice versa for my page. So they can always link the two of us together.
Yeah, so you've got a social SEO strategy. Is what is the thing that I wanted people to hear. Is you're using your brand page, your profile, and the community all together, relating the content back to your website that allows it to surface in search later.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's the flow that you've got, and that's working for business.
Yes.
It's cool, Guy. No, you've got an amazing community. I mean, you've been case studied as well. Let me say about that. Is that right? Yeah. So Google used you as a case study.
Early on, before the community project launched and Hangouts were new, we were in a case study feature. I think there was 5 of them done on ways that businesses or individuals were using Hangouts in an interesting way. Sarah Hill is very well known. She was one of those case studies as well.
Really good. Well, it's impressive, and it's lovely to have you around. I love to see you in the Plus Your Business community. And I know there's a lot of people that will want to hear your story more. So we've chatted, and I'd like to spend time and show people that, because you're doing it brilliantly.
I'm easiest to find on Google Plus. That's the easiest way to.
Yeah, well, now we're going to go to that. So let's go through it. So we got your profile and the page, the name of the page, the name of the community, so people can find that too.
The page is Yarn Mountain, Plus Yarn Mountain, and the community is the Knitting Lodge.
Cool.
The website is yarnmountain.com.
There we go. Wonderful. Well, thanks for coming in. Thanks for telling the story. It's very exciting listening to you, because you have got the 360 model, which is what we're developing for everybody. You're doing it.
I actually have that model posted on the info part of my profile page for anybody that wants to see that.
Great. And I'll tell you what, we'll post it near this video as well on the Plus Your Business site, so we'll have that link there. Wonderful. Well, thanks for coming in, Christina.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. And I'm going to come across to Stan now, because we're going to talk about community. And you can see that everything that we're doing, we're all moving towards that integration between people who are following the page, people who are members of the community in the conversations there, how we can utilize Hangouts to connect with people, how that pulls back into activity, traffic, to a website that then leads to some action, whether it be a purchase or whether it be lead generation and so on. So Stan, we've been working on this now we've closed the community doors 2 months ago, probably.
March 1st.
And we're getting busy. So how are you?
I'm doing real good. I'm doing great, man. There's a lot of stuff going on in the community, but I'm gonna go back to Christina and talk about something that she said that really struck me and that I emphasize too, is that you get asked all the time about building a community, and she said it really simple. Like, how do you do it? Well, she looked for knitters. I mean, that's what she did. She went out and looked for knitters. She didn't go out and look for people that were lacrosse players or anything like that. She went out and found knitters. If you've got a football community, there's no sense in going and getting soccer guys, because they're two different things. But I did hear you say that, and I thought that's exactly kind of the way that I do things. Plus, I try to keep in our community is a little bit different, because there's a different mix. There's no one thing like that, and I needed that knitting community. I've needed it more than twice in the last probably four weeks, where people would come in that did knitting and said, where do I go to find some people? So now I've got that in this. I've got a steel trap seed up here.
See, that's excellent.
And so I'll be able to tell them where to go there. But I did enjoy your listening to you.
Right. So Stan, and we're going to come on. What have you been learning then about community management?
Well, I can tell you that it's probably the most, for me, it's one of the most fun things that I do every day, because I get to see all of the different people, and I get to see how they interact with each other, and how they are just really helping each other out. It's the way that they come in to try to help each other on different stuff, and that's pretty I would say fulfilling to me. But right now we're working on the level 1 competency for the academy. For those that don't know that, what we're about to launch some Hangouts to help people get through the level 1 competency through the academy, and that's going pretty good. That's going real well.
That's great. So we just brought that up actually as the image for those that are interested. What we're doing is structuring 5 levels. We've got the competencies written and just about published actually. We've just going for a final process for the first 3 levels. So they're going to be coming out within the next week or 2. And level 1, we are signing off. We've signed off probably 40, 50 people so far. And we're just working through those that have shown interest in going through that. And then we'll start to roll out the programs. But what we're doing is finding ways to deepen people's experience on Google+. And when we get to the level 3, community management, page management, there's processes that we've been using and having chats with people like Christina and pulling out all of their experience and condensing that so we can put courses on and support people in growing the communities they want to grow. Because it's huge, as Kath Dawson was saying earlier. This is a big thing. And to try and learn it on your own is difficult. So, you know, we're getting to the point now where we'll have the structured courses. So, Stan, I know that you've got, for those watching that have some gaps, we've got the Hangouts we're going to be doing soon, I believe. We're going to be focusing on that one because that seems to be one of the main areas. And as you know, Kath and Christina have been doing, Hangouts make a difference. Big difference to people. So yes. So when are we going to have that, Stan?
I hope to start them next week. That would be. I would start one tomorrow if we posted it. But you know me. I'm ready. If you're waiting on me, you're backing up. So if you want to get one started, anytime somebody wants some help or get through the competency levels, just hit me up with a Hangout or send me a message, and I'll do it. I'll make time to do that because it's really, for me, it's important. The importance for me is in the community. I see a lot of people asking questions about Google Plus pages and asking questions about Google Local and asking about Blogger and all this different, email and stuff like that. And see, having a competency badge, so to speak, lets me know that that person at least knows how to do that, knows what they're doing. That's what it's about for me, to be able to look over there and say, okay, this person has some experience, and I know that they understand how Google Local works. Because I've seen people tell people to, delete their profile. I've not seen that in our community, but I have seen it in another community, and they told them to delete their profile, and it took that person it was awful. It took them a while to try to get all their stuff back, and there was nothing there that indicated that the person that told them to delete the profile really, obviously they didn't know what they were talking about, but there was really no way to just be able to look at it and tell.
So if people want to get in touch with Stan, they'll just reach out and we'll get you through the level 1 competency. It will be, unless somebody's a business, it's going to be free for any individual. So we're doing that, and then that allows you then to go on to levels 2 and levels 3. So that's great. Well, thank you, Stan. I'm just going to pick up on a couple of questions and points. Peter Lunn is saying that he thinks that we'll see more Hangouts in real life, but meetups happening as spin-offs from HOAs. And the thing is, Peter, I found that already with people in the UK. The longer you spend on Google+, the more time you end up spending in real life with people. And, that's just the blend between real life and online life starts to become very blurred, and it's the same life. But it takes a little while, I think, to build your network to a point where that happens. So that's going to happen. And Hart, question for Christina. I'm going to bring this one up. If I can bring up on my screen. There we go. I'm the only one, a hobby yarn knitter, although I knit wire for my business. I have no idea what knit wiring is, but I would love to join your community just to see how you built it and how you're running it. My goal is to start a community for my time. So that's, yeah. Have any thoughts on that?
Well, you just start finding the folks that you're in common with. The easiest way to do that is to join a community and get involved in some of the activities that are going on there. Absolutely.
I'm going to ask, what's knit wire?
I have no idea. I knit wire. Oh, okay, they're knitting with wire as opposed to yarn.
Oh, wow. You don't want a pair of socks with that, do you? But
no.
Cool. Well, that's great. Thanks, Hart. Excellent. Yeah, no, she says literally knitting with copper, sterling silver, and Argentinium silver. Wow. Cool. Wow. Okay. That's great. Well, thank you. And we've just been joined by two characters. One's called Lee and the other's called Lux. And Lee's from Nodex. How are you?
I'm very well.
Good. Let's see ya. Bring her up on the screen. Look at her.
She's very tired and sleepy at the moment.
Look at her. Oh dear. There we go.
Oh.
Let's nuzzle in. No nuzzling on camera.
Sorry.
Okay. So, well, Lee's here because we want to have we're just going to give you a quick rundown of the latest case study that we've just put out, which was the Rubik's Tuesday event that we did. So Lee has been using Nodex to do the analysis, which is a tool that allows us to see the spread, the depth, the engagement, and many other things that occur when people are sharing and engaging on these campaigns on Google Plus and much more. It's other social networks as well, and it's a huge tool. Lee, what were the 5 things that we learned from the Rubik's Tuesday campaign, would you say?
Right. Timing is everything with all of these. But the planning that goes into it, in order to gain any form of traction, is a lot more. If you want to get the results, you've got to get the right people in place, notified, make them aware, maybe remind them, this kind of thing.
And that's all the stuff that I tend to do in the background.
Exactly.
And I try and make it explicit because I want everybody to learn and to be open. Yeah. And part of the deal really is that I say, this is how I'm doing these things. Yeah. But there is a lot of preparation that often occurs before that first event.
Absolutely. I mean, I like to call them seed groups. You're contacting a certain number of people that are probably going to be highly engaged with the content anyway, for whatever reason. Right, and then you've got, excuse me, from there, the research that goes behind it. I mean, in terms of the Rubik's one, we had the 40th anniversary of it, which obviously timely, and for anyone looking to try and replicate this in a different way, are there any other dates that could be used for a campaign in a creative way? Right, because if you can coincide it, if let's say there's a date, and Google are very good at this, right, on their Google home pages, when they celebrate certain days and all this kind of stuff. The creativity that goes into that, and the amount of posts of people resharing the Google Doodle of the day, is an indicator, right? And so I like to try and liken it to Google. If we replicate what Google do on a creative aspect, but in a smaller way, and create content that is shareable with an image or a video or whatever it is, something which is going to excite people or align people with what you're trying to do, the chances are that you've got a big massive tick in one of the boxes that you need, and it's a big help. It's got to be a big help.
Yeah, I mean, I find the same things, that if people are ready for it. And if your time is slightly off, then you find out very quickly and it will just fall flat. But if people are ready, they are waiting in a way. Yeah. I don't just mean with a seed in it. It's like if you post something New Year's Eve that says Happy New Year's Day on it, you're off by a day.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's quite simple. It's like, yeah, you were in the ballpark, but you're not right. And that's the same kind of principle. It's when the waves are there, then people will surf with them.
Absolutely.
Right. You know me and my waves metaphor. So okay, so that's the timing. What else?
In order to, so let's say you've got your preparation right. You've found a date. You've got a nice piece of creativity, which no excuse. You can use things like Canva now for all of that kind of stuff. If you really want to get any form of traction on this, then you're going to need to dedicate the time during the campaign, not just engaging with those people that are engaging on your posts, but what's more important is that you're engaging on other people's posts that are also being shared surrounding that topic, all right, and also with the engages of those people's posts. Because what you're then doing is you're putting yourself everywhere within it, and it's a huge resource. You know, we're not talking money here, but time-wise, you need to keep on top of it, because one engagement on another person's post can trigger off an immense ripple. E.g., if we go back to the Rubik Tuesday one, you know, there was the European Commission posted the happy 40th anniversary, and then that was actually reshared into Beyond Rubik's Cube page, which they didn't add any value to it because they've got a highly engaged audience there, right? They've got 1.9 million followers and stuff like this, so it was immediate resonance. But the reshares off that, there were 152 reshares just from that one page.
Yeah.
Now, if this is what I'm saying, if you can align certain things with certain dates and potentially, you know, build relationships prior to a campaign happening. For example, if we were replicating again, maybe we build a relationship up with Beyond Rubik's Cube and say, look, this is the event, this is when it's happening, this is what we're doing, would you like to be involved?
Yeah.
Then, you know, this time next year when we do it, let's say we do it again because we've got a benchmark now, then what's the next effect from that?
It's interesting because I've already built a relationship with Erna Rubik that had given me the idea of doing it, and so he gets involved and he shares and then shares later the video that we share, and that's the thing. But it's looking at all of the points and not being shy and going and building a relationship and let people know, because it's amplifying their story.
Yeah, damn right. And you know the good thing about this is it's social media. If you try and pick up a telephone to someone, right, to Professor Rubik, the chances are you're never going to get through, right? Let's just face it, it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
But on social media, things are different. You know, our barriers are down a little bit more. We're open to conversations and things like this, and you know, even if it's just saying hi, and it makes a hell of a difference. So, you know, definitely don't be shy when reaching out. Definitely not.
Superb. All right. Well, thank you, Lee. Thanks for popping in. Let's have a look at Lux again before you go.
Okay. She's fast asleep, but I'll wake her up for you guys.
Oh, look. Come on.
She's celebrated her 6-month birthday on Sunday.
Very good. Okay.
Thanks for having us.
Good to see you both. All right. Thank you. Okay. We're going to come back to, well, we're going to be doing our goodbyes very soon. Let's come back to Travis in the studio. All right. I like the studio.
Hey there.
Good. So I know we're getting questions from people about the broadcasting, so let's just come back to that and let people know, how are you doing this? What is the basic tech? We mention this each time, but I know people like to have it.
First off, and something I keep forgetting is we're on a Mac. I don't know, to be honest, how this can be done being off a Mac. Okay. So we start with the Mac, and it needs to have enough. It needs to have enough power, because you're doing an awful lot with it. So if it doesn't have enough gigs and it doesn't have a large enough video card, it's not going to be able to handle the amount of stuff that's going on.
Okay. This is a Hangout on Air. This isn't live stream from YouTube, is it?
No, this one, now we can do both, and we're still messing with both. But this one is streaming straight as a Hangout on Air, not to a live stream or live broadcast on YouTube.
Yeah. Cool.
So,
okay. Yep.
And then, I mean, other than that, it's just piecing together a bunch of programs that help to bring in various feeds and what have you.
Yeah.
So,
cool.
In fact,
do you want to give a shout out to one of the main programs if people are curious, and then they can go and check it out or get in touch with you and ask for more?
Most definitely. One of the main ones that we're using is VDMX. It's actually a VJ program. And that's the one we're using to take the source of the different cameras and the source of the Hangout into this program, and then it blasts it back out into the either the Hangout or onto YouTube. So that is one of the programs, and then there's a bunch of others that you have to. Quartz Composer, those that are big Mac people know that within Quartz Composer you can create various programs that help to they're basically plugins. And so another popular plugin that's used is called Siphon. And that's what we use to actually take the various sources and bring them into VDMX. And so that's kind of the gist. But there's a little bit more to it than that.
And where can people find you, Travis, just so that they know? So if they want to ask you if they want consultancy and they want to look at Hangouts in general, where can they get hold of you?
Well, definitely on Google+, Travis Taylor. And then also my company, DigiVid Media. So I have a page on Google+, and then also my website, digividmedia.com.
That's great. And if you want to get in touch via the Plus Your Business community, then...
definitely. I'm always available through the community.
That's great. Thank you. Okay, we're going to come to final thoughts. Christina, what's next for you?
Well, we've just started to put together some really fun features through a product called Google Open Gallery that we're using in a little bit different way. It's intended to archive collections. It has some tremendous capabilities to it to showcase different items, and we're using that to showcase a product, but through the sense of learning. So we're teaching about the product, we're doing tutorials through it, we're doing demonstrations, we're featuring a designer, we might talk about how the materials are actually created, and putting together sort of a self-paced exhibit, a workshop style, for some of our featured products, and involving the community members in that as well that have worked on those items that can add their own tidbit for it. We've got workshops planned that continue to grow as folks get involved too. So it's just a matter of keeping the community engaged and involved and getting better. Right. They're getting better and we're getting better.
Yeah, superb. It is a synergistic learning experience as well, isn't it?
Oh, very much so. And you know, I'm able to tailor what my business provides for them based on the feedback I get from their user experience and from just their dialogue and what it is they're using and working on and their preferences, and which we all get to know because we're involved with them face-to-face in communities and on Hangouts and in discussion. It's great. And I got to use the word synergistic in context. I like that. Okay, thank you. It sounds great, and I know with the project, the big project that you're launching, it's very different. It looks different. So we'll have that in the Plus Your Business community as well, so everyone can see what Christina's been working on. Because you are at the front of all this. Yes, living on the edge. Oh, that's great. Well, thank you. And coming across now to Kath, where are you going next with things?
Have I unmuted myself? I'm still a beginner. Well, what's next? Well, today I shared the Brit Brands Circle, which is something that I want to do to kind of encourage more people to connect in the UK. Yep. So I wanted to kind of see where that goes. I'm loving these campaigns that you're running because I'm finding I'm learning a lot from them by taking part in them and seeing how the planning builds up and how people interact on the day. It's great to be part of them because that's a learning curve, but also just seeing how you do it. You know, you're building brand advocates by running campaigns, and I'm very interested in how that works. So I'm learning from that through participating. And I'm going to set up my first community this weekend because I'm not sure if you told me this or whether I just did it anyway, but I didn't want to create a community straight away because I knew there was just too much that I didn't know about jumping in and creating a community.
That's my usual advice, is don't do it yet, is my usual advice.
Right, you must have told me that then, because it's you know, I think the sense of, oh, look at these amazing communities, they've got loads of followers, and you know, jump in and do it. And actually what I'm quite interested in is a much smaller community of people who are particularly interested in an area that I'm interested in. And that's the brand advocates, building the brand advocates through content marketing, because there's lots of content marketing communities and they're brilliant, but it's specifically on the aspect of, you know, how does that work. So I'm going to work on building that this weekend and I go back and learn all the things about how to set up a community. So I know there's some stuff out there at the moment, so that's what's next for me.
Super. Well, thank you. Great. And let's come to Stan next and then Travis in the studio. Dan, final thoughts?
Well, you know, I've just been kind of surprised. I've been watching the comments and from Peter and 24 Karat and you know, being from Georgia, it's always nice to see that there are fans of the Southeastern Conference over there. I see the UK is mentioned. That's University of Kentucky, right?
Yeah, because we had myself, Kath, and Lee all together. So I think Peter, like the British contingent. But how to get to the show, Peter?
Yeah, I see that over there. But the you know, there's a couple of things that are coming up that's going to be a lot of fun. As you know, the thing we're going to do with the profile weeks and that we're planning in next month is going to be really big. And then I'm looking to see like this hangout. You know, you've got Kath and Christina, and you've had Brogan, and you've had you know, Peg and Guy. So you know, I'm just figuring that I'm going to come in here one day, and you're going to have like Chuck Norris or maybe William Shatner or something like that. You know, so there's all that.
All in the plan.
Yeah, just you know, I'm my usual self of just saying, you know, come on in and I appreciate everything that everybody does, and I just like to help. You know, of anything that anybody knows about me, I just like to help.
Well, you and Hillary are doing a fantastic job on helping people into the community, which is great. So it's getting exciting. Cool. Now, last thoughts from Travis. So thank you, Stan.
Yeah, well, you know, I have to say I really like when people get on into the Hangouts, and like Christina's background is beautiful. I love all the yarn back there. It's bright. The camera's nice. And then even with Kath, it's always good to try and put something other than just your normal background behind there, and like what Martin has, or even Stan. I know a couple people that use that, and that's simple, and it's really easy to deal with. So
yeah, it is a good tip. It makes a big difference having something.
It really does. I mean, when you're watching somebody that's a professional and you've got their clutter of their room behind them, it's not very impressive. And so when you do have an aspect that either displays your business behind you, like what Martin's doing with the backdrop there, or with the yarn, that's so beautiful and colorful. And so yeah, my hat's off to you all on that.
There we go.
That's all I have to say.
Well, thank you to you, and thank you to Cor, and thanks for a quick tour of the studio as well. And thanks to you for watching. So thanks to Hart and Peter and 24 Karat and everybody else out there. And we'll come and pick up some of the questions on the thread. You know where we are. We're in the Pleasure Business community, and we've got a lot planned over the coming weeks. This is just the beginning of things, folks. So glad to have you on board, and look forward to seeing you next week. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye now.